Hey guys, it's Dawn, and today I wanted to give you a quick introduction to the Pretty Peonies and the Pretty Little Peonies stamp sets. Now these are one of our builder sets, which means there's several images that you can stamp on top of each other to build up an intricate design. I personally love these types of stamp sets, and I know that a lot of you do too. I wanted to give you a little more information on using these because these are a little bit different. I tried to make these the easiest I could for you guys to use. There's not a lot of complicated lining up because they're meant to be artsy. You can use as few or as many of the steps as you'd like to get a lot of different looks and a lot of different designs. So I've really tried to make these as simple as possible, but still pack a lot of punch. Now I liked these designs so much that I had to have them in both sizes. So we have a 6x8 stamp set, a 4x6 stamp set, and then we have the matching dies for each of them. As I mentioned, these are builder stamps, which means that each image has multiple layers that you stamp on top of each other to build up your image. For example, the largest peony here, you would stamp the base image, then the detail image, then the outline image, and fill in the center area. Now the 4x6 set has a lot of the same images as the larger set with the exception of some of the stems, and then we've added a couple extra flowers to the smaller set. Now the scale is completely different, so even if you have both of these sets, you won't have a duplicate size of any of the flowers or leaves. And here's a quick size comparison of the largest flower from each set die cut and stamped, so you can see the size difference very clearly here. And of course, it's also a quick peek at some of the flowers stamped out to completion. The largest one there has only the 2 layers, the base and the detail, and then the one on the right there, the smaller one, has all 3 layers, the base, the detail, and the outlines. I've gone ahead and stamped out each of the images so you can see how they look on their own. Now you can use these in any variety that you would like. You can use 1 layer, you can use 2 layers, you can use all 3. It's really up to you. They're very easy to line up because they don't exactly line up. Now don't kill yourself trying to get them perfectly lined up because it's not going to work. They have that very loose painterly look, which makes it super simple, and there is really no way to mess it up. There's several ways to build this, so I'm going to show you a couple. I'm using our Sweet Nectar dye ink here, and I'm going to stamp it twice. I'm going to stamp it once full strength, and then I'm going to immediately stamp it again without re-inking, because it's just another method that you can use to build up these flowers. So there's my second impression, and it's going to come out very light, and that's just fine. Now I'm going to come in with our flamingo ink, and I'm going to stamp that over that full strength first impression. You can see I'm not being overly careful to line up. I just line up that center hole. As long as you have the orientation correct, any little offsets aren't going to matter because there's breaks and gaps in these images so that it's not overly obvious if they're not perfectly aligned. So it's super simple. Now I'm going to take the Sweet Nectar and I'm going to stamp that over that second impression, that second generation stamping. Here I'm just looking through to make sure that the hole is lined up in the center, and then I'm stamping. Now you can see that this gives me a much more dramatic difference in color, and I really like that. This is what I did on this card here. I also opted to leave out the outlined image on this one as well. For another look, you can stamp all 3 layers in the same color, the same strength. So here I'm using Stampin' Up's Regal Rose, and I like to give a couple seconds in between each layer to let that ink fully cure. And as you build up those layers of ink, each layer is going to get progressively deeper and darker. It's not going to be a huge difference, but it's going to be enough to be noticeable, and I think it makes a huge impact. And then you'll just add in your flower centers, and for that I'm using our Wild Mango ink. So here's a card that I used the same technique on, and you can see here that subtle color variation. It just really brings that image to life. You can also just use the base and the outlined images together. Here I'm using our Sweet Nectar, and then I'm going to stamp the outline in black. I really love this look. I used it in this card here. I think it has a loose, eclectic feel, and it's one of my favorites. The rest of the images in the set work pretty much the same way. You stamp and then you add your details or your outlines if you want. You can add colors, you can do them in black and white. This is a great set for techniques. You can color the outlined images with Copics. It's wonderful for watercoloring, which I'll have a tutorial coming up on shortly. And once you find your favorite color combos, you can stamp them out on a sheet of paper and then label them. Like these are some of my favorites, so I've stamped them out and then I just wrote down which colors were which, and then I can refer to them for future projects. So you can see just how versatile these stamp sets are. They are by far one of my new favorites. I also will have a watercolor tutorial coming up featuring these stamps. The images are gorgeous for watercoloring. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget, you can find all the featured W+9 supplies at w+9.com, and you can connect with us on our blog at stampawaywithme.blogspot.com. You can also connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!